Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about what separates those who find success in cash physical therapy almost right out of the gate and continue to grow and scale and replace themselves within their business, and those who get started as a side hustle and just never catch their wind, just seem like they can't catch a break. Now they're working two jobs, overworked, and they're questioning whether or not this whole cash physical therapy thing is even feasible based off of where they're at in life, where they're at as a family. And so today we're going to demystify the core differences between those two groups of people. And don't worry, all of these things that we're about to share, these aren't things that we're naturally born with. These aren't inherent skills that people have. These are things that are developed as we become more self-aware of our shortcomings and as we become more skilled in the art of business. So if you're listening to this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe for more training on what's working for cash physical therapists. Ben, what's happening, brother?
Not much. Excited for this one. I think it's something that I think will be eye-opening for a lot of people. And I think, yeah, like you said, it's important for people to know these are all things that can be developed if you're willing. That's the big if, and that's also part of one of the characteristics we'll talk about too.
Right. So right out of the gate, what would you say is like the biggest defining characteristic of a successful physical therapist?
First one that comes to mind is mindset. It's something that there's some physical therapists that we coach that just fight you tooth and nail about suggestions that you make, whether it's like pricing, pricing suggestions around pricing, packaging, and thinking, oh, nobody's gonna ever pay that in my area, or nobody's gonna pay that. Then there's those that you coach and teach, and they're super receptive to it, and they understand that, hey, I know this makes me uncomfortable charging this amount. I don't think anybody's gonna pay this, but I trust you, and I also know I have limiting beliefs of myself for myself, and I know I need to work on those, and I'm going to work on those. And so it's the awareness that they have mindset issues. 2, it's their ability to receive and understand that this needs to change. And then 3 is actually acting on it and working to change those mindset issues. That's the big one that I see, is that receptiveness and awareness and willingness to change and work on yourself, because you're admitting to yourself you have a shortcoming, and that's not always easy to do, and especially when it's a big one focused around finances and money and psychology. So that's a big one that I see amongst our most successful clients understand that they have mindset and limiting beliefs, and they're willing to overcome it. And that's not just at the beginning stages. That's something for every successful entrepreneur, that they understand, to get to the next level, I have to overcome mindset issues. It's never like I'm continuously overcoming mindset issues right now. And that's something that's going to happen for someone that's trying to push and reach different levels that they've never reached before. So that's
no, I think that's definitely the starting point. And just for our listeners here, if you're brand new to this channel, we're not just pulling this from our own experience as entrepreneurs and building 7-figure businesses. This year, we have now awarded almost 20 physical therapists our 7-figure impact award. This big shiny one up here on my wall here. Now, what that means is they've generated more than 7 figures from their cash physical therapy practice, and our average client starts with us doing $8,000 a month. And so we are drawing from the knowledge that we've acquired from helping dozens of physical therapists not only hit their first $10,000 a month, but $50,000 a month, $80,000 a month, $100,000 a month. And so if you don't know who we are, we've been doing this for quite a while, and we know what it takes to be successful. And although talking about mindset is like a big cliche, especially in healthcare, it is 100% the thing that probably is the biggest difference maker in the level of focus, tenacity, and clarity you have when you first start your practice. Because ego, I would say, is absolutely one of the biggest killers of your practice early on. Because if you come into this, feeling like, hey, I'm a world-class clinician, I'm a really smart individual, like I know that if people can just get to know me and feel my expertise and the results I'm able to get them, I'm going to be successful. That is not true. Okay. The graveyard is riddled with brilliant and extremely skilled clinicians that never stood a chance in entrepreneurship. It is an entirely different game because as you build the business, you quickly learn that it's literally a house of mirrors. The things that you're great at are good in the business, and the things that you suck at, all of your insecurities, all of your doubts, all your false beliefs, you're faced with every single day. And if you can't overcome those doubts, insecurities, and fears, you will get eaten up, swallowed, and spit out by entrepreneurship. Now, the people who are the most successful, they understand this. They understand that it's not the clinical skills that create a successful company. That is a prerequisite. But in order to be successful, you have to know how to convey your value to other people. You have to know how to gain exposure and awareness in a marketplace, and how to systematically design your practice model to achieve a very specific outcome and be able to reverse engineer that ideal outcome you're trying to create. So there's so many different skills that have to be created. And before you can even develop those skills, it's first admitting that we're not good at stuff and that we have a tremendous amount of things to learn. And if you can't do that, and if you don't believe that you're able to become a person that can be making $10,000, $20,000 a month, you're never actually going to get there.
100%. Yeah, it's really eye-opening to see how like common that is. Where they just think that, hey, if I'm a
Big one,
great,
money.
it's a saying, if you build it, they'll come. It's kind of like, oh, if I have a skill set, they'll come. No, it's not. Not the case. Not the
Right.
case. But
And one of my coaches taught me this. They were talking about it in a different lens, but I like to apply it to money. Like whatever you believe is a lot of money, like you'll rarely make as much as however much you think is a lot of money, but you'll never make more than what you think is a lot of money. So if you think $10,000 a month is a lot of money, you're always going to fall short of that goal. And so there's so much development that needs to happen where it's not only shifting what your baseline is of what you think a lot of money is, but also shifting what we feel like we actually deserve for the contributions we make to the world. And if you can't overcome those things, your subconscious is going to resist it because you'll get close to 10,000. Maybe you're doing $8,000 a month. And because you think $10,000 a month, you're going to feel like $8,000 is pretty dang good. And you're not going to push as hard as you would if you thought 10K was nothing. And so like our thoughts and the beliefs that were instilled with us from our childhood, from our parents, from our friends, from our own inner circle, if we can't transcend those belief systems, it's really, really hard to succeed, at least at the level that would get you to a point of self-sustainability within your cash practice. A lot of people who don't overcome their money mindset and what they truly believe as an individual, what they deserve, if you can't beat those things, that's how you get stuck in the freelancer stage when you're really just, you created a job for yourself. You're really just kind of freelancing physical therapy. And that's where you're kind of forced to have a second and third source of income because this thing isn't really working out. And now you're doing 10 times more than you ever were and maybe making a little bit more money, but you're definitely more stressed than you've ever been.
for sure. And I think it comes back to the money mindset too, that, I think our clients have a mindset shift too, that they realize, hey, money is just a tool. There's nothing evil about money. Money is a tool. And the best way to think about this too is like, if you're able to buy, like if you become really successful, you're able to take time off away from the business and you're able to like take your family on a vacation that you never thought possible because you have the time, freedom, and financial resources to do it. You need to look at that trip and that ability to do that at the lens of like, I was able to do this because I helped this many people. Start seeing the things that you're able to acquire, whether through finances, whether it's trips. It could be a car, it could be a home, it can be literally anything that you can buy with money. Look at that, or anything that brings you happiness that you can achieve with money, and be like, actually, I was able to achieve this because I helped this many people. Right. So that's something that I do frequently, is for any material possessions or things that I was able to, trips I was able to take, or time off that I was able to take. I reflect on that. It's actually because, yes, money allowed me to do that, but I was able to acquire that money because of the direct value that I bring to this world.
Yep.
Based on the skill set and the things that I built with the skill set and the trials and tribulations, entrepreneurs have to go through. That's how people need to start looking at money.
And the stupidest mindset that some people have is like there's people like in our ads, and they'll comment like, "Oh, this is a scam. Selling cash packages, that's a scam. You're tricking people out of money." And it's like, are you fucking stupid?
Mm-hmm.
Like, those people, they're coming in for 9 visits on average. The rate of your 5-star reviews is absolutely insane. And it's like, you can't trick people into spending that much time and spending that much money with you unless they truly love and get value out of what it is that you're doing. And so the people who are looking at that, it's like, yeah, you're making all this money, but you're like tricking people into stuff they don't need. Like, that is bullshit. You are providing an experience that helps people not only get out of pain, but helps see a future for themselves that they thought maybe was impossible. And through that, you're able to live a much more comfortable life because of the impact that you're having and the leverage you've been able to create. Ravi recently said in an interview, Ravi Abuvala, he's my business or our business coach. He said that money does not buy happiness, but it does create the space for happiness. And at the heart of that is what Ben just said. Like, money is just a tool. It is energy. It is what allows you to create systems and support other people to create operations that can work without you. And that's the purpose of money. It's the purpose of money is to buy back your time. Okay. Poor people, they spend their time to make money. People who are successful in cash physical therapy and in business in general, they recognize that money is a tool to buy time. It's completely reversed. If you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, I definitely recommend picking that up. That will change a lot of your viewpoints on what money actually is. And actually a good percentage of our clients who were hot right out of the gate and hit 7 figures within, 18 months, all of them have read that book.
100%. Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest, one of the books that's changed my thinking and thought process more than anything else. And
yeah,
it's probably the top 3 book for me.
It definitely changes everything. And so if you don't have a community or a group of friends or people close to you who think big and think that living a life where you can make great money, but also only work 20 hours a week, then you need to start reading books and filling your mind with this information to help overcome the mental limitations that have been placed on you by the society and the groups and the cultures that you're a part of. So definitely recommend reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Another fantastic one would be Your Future Self Now. Really cliche kind of name, but honestly, when you read that book, that is one of the greatest books about designing the life that you actually want to have while making sure that joy and happiness is at the center of every single thing that you do. It's really honestly the best title for that book when you actually read it. But I held off because I'm like, that's such a corny fucking name. But then they finally, then I read it and it was a life-changing book. So let's move past mindset. I think everyone gets it. I think the next most important thing the biggest thing that separates the people who are successful from the people who are really burnt out and struggling in their practice and close to giving up is their ability to make projections and plans for what it is they actually want to do. Most PTs, when they first get into cash physical therapy entrepreneurship, they are simply showing up every day, doing their best, and reacting to things that are happening. There's no plan. There's no target that they're going for. And so every single day they're waking up. The first thing that they're doing every day, if not, eating breakfast and like taking care of the family, is going and treating a patient. And throughout the day, they're treating more patients, hopefully, but then they're trying to figure out what it is they're supposed to be doing in between those sessions, which doesn't allow for any actual meaningful deep work to be done. And so they're trapped working. Not only are they trapped trading time for money, but they're trapped working in the business rather than on it. and not giving themselves the space and time to actually think critically or to learn what is required to actually make the business move forward.
Yeah, it's like if you're not able to like future pace and really truly plan out, there's nothing to act on,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's, yeah, just treating patients is just delaying the things that you actually need to be working on.
Right.
And that's, yeah, I agree. That's where most people get stuck, is they're so busy treating that they can't do anything else. And treating patients does not move the needle forward in your business. So.
I kind of think it's actually kind of hilarious, and it's equally sad how quickly if any medical professional, we'll throw that in air quotes, puts out some sort of proposed treatment or modality that isn't super heavily researched and there's not a tremendous amount of data on it, physical therapists are among the fastest to shoot down and make fun of what that person is proposing. Like the idea of like quantum physics or manifestation, for example, like the woo woo crap. Like nobody is faster to shoot that down and say, show me the research, show me the data than physical therapists. But when it comes to their business and to actually helping improve their own lives, they refuse to look at the data. They refuse to look in the mirror and see their own shortcomings to actually create the outcome that they're trying to create. Why is that, do you think, dude? Like, it's actually like insane how hard it is to get people to track your numbers and to realize that all of your stress is because you're guessing at what you need to do. And if you would just track your damn numbers, they would point out clear as day, here's what you should do and here's what you need to do more of.
Yeah, that's a good question. I never thought of that one. I think it's beautifully put. I think it might be, and this is what it is they're just not super passionate about it. They're super passionate about physical therapy. And so they want to look at the data. And that's the thing too, that I do think there's some people that start a business just because they want to create a job for themselves.
Yeah.
And when you're in that mindset of just creating a job for yourself, you're not actually really that passionate about it. And so you don't want to track your numbers. You don't want to be doing these things for the business because you're actually not passionate about it. You just want to be able to have, again, the ability to treat patients how you want to. And I think that is where people struggle. But I think if it would be a wake up call for them hopefully for PTs with that mindset to think like, hey, we're all, want to analyze the data and the research here, but you're not doing that with your business. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be really eye-opening for people.
I think you just hit it on the head. I think that's one of the key things. So before we move on to that last segment there, like the most successful people, they know exactly how much money they want to make as an individual. They know how many patients they want to treat per week. And so they can reverse engineer that based off of these hours and how much I want to make. This is what I need to be able to charge. And they reverse engineer that. It's like, if I'm charging this, how many sales do I need to make each and every month? Perfect. If my close rate is this means I need this many evals every single month. If my lead to booking rate is this, that means I need this many leads every single month. And then they're able to decide, it's like, okay, if I have this much money for ads and it costs this much to get a lead, well, then I still have this many more leads to get. And so they're able to make a systematic plan where it's like, okay, here are my targets. Here's how many leads I'm going to get from paid advertising. Here's how many leads I need to get from organic marketing. And they design a plan for that month at the beginning of the month. And then at the end of the month, they track their numbers. How many leads I get from paid advertising? How many leads I get from organic marketing? What worked? What didn't? What assumptions did I make about my conversion rates and sales that maybe need to be corrected? And then they chart a new plan for the next month based off that data. And if you just repeat that every single month, guess what? You actually freaking grow. You actually figure things out. You actually learn what works, what doesn't, and what's important and what's not. So track your numbers. If you're looking for a great book to master tracking numbers, the importance of them, and how to systematically design the business that you want to have so that you can have the life that you have, read the book Traction. It is a girthy book. It is thick. But that is probably, if there's any book that's like the Bible for entrepreneurship, I can't think of anything better than Traction.
Yeah, it's so well encompassing for not just for beginners, but intermediates, and also like just very high level. There's There's businesses that generate multi-million dollars, billions of dollars, and that book would still be beneficial for them to read as well. Same thing with the beginner. So I agree. I think it does such a good job of capturing every entrepreneur at their journey too.
Yep. And if you want to expedite it, you can go watch the YouTube video. Otherwise, they made this book, which is like the kids version of it. Still incredibly good. Still has all the same information. It's just condensed. A little bit more fun to read. But yeah, that's like the kiddie version.
Yeah. And what you explained earlier is really just a scientific method of what you explained with like reverse engineering your numbers and testing things and then repeating and rinsing and repeat, figure out what works. It's just a scientific method. That's all it is, right? So you relate it back to PT again for those that are reluctant to move forward with it.
Right. Let's talk on that final note. I know you probably how much time?
I got to go 5 minutes here.
5 minutes, perfect. That's all we need. You only need 5 minutes, baby. Let's talk about passion, because I don't think most people lack passion, but the people who are the most successful, they are not just passionate about physical therapy. I would say that they are way more passionate about the versions of themselves that they believe that they can actually become, the type of parent they want to be, the type of provider they want to be, the type of impact they want to have, and how they want the world to basically perceive them, their legacy that they leave behind. That's what they're passionate about. They're so connected to this future vision for what they believe that they can create through observing what other people have created and realizing that those people aren't better than they are. They just have more information. And so once you realize like what you're truly capable of through observation, and you have that attachment to that specific outcome, it's really easy to get really passionate about like the how when you really are clear on the what.
Yeah,
like you knew what you wanted from day one.
Yeah, it comes back to passion. You have to be truly excited about this. Your passion can't be, I just want to start my business and because I hate my job. It's got to be much.
The dumbest. It is way harder.
Yeah, it's got to be so much more than that. And sometimes that's what helps people get started, and that's the biggest pain point. But you have to know and kind of begin with that in mind. What's next after that?
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's pretty easy to. Honestly, if you with the right help, it's very easy. Especially like you just reverse engineer what it takes to just be able to do $10,000 months. It's pretty simple to do, and you're going to be able to. There's no reason people can't hit that within the first year. What are you going to do after the first year once you hit that? You achieved your why and your passion. You're gonna be miserable, and so you have to have something bigger than that.
Right. If you can't hit 10K a month in your first year, you are the problem. Your mindset is the problem. Your work ethic is the problem. It's something in there because there's people who have the same goals, implement the exact same strategies, and get completely different results. Why is that? What is the variable that's different in those scenarios? It's the person. And I think without the passion, I think that has to come first. And I think that passion needs to be around deciding and committing to become the absolute best version of yourself. And there's no vehicle in the world that sharpens a person's mind and their ability to change the world like entrepreneurship. And so because their pursuit is becoming the best versions of themselves, the how and the things that you need to do become so much more tolerable and even exciting, because even as you implement and fail, you're able to see how those failures are contributing to turning you into that version of yourself. And if you don't have that passion or that desire to reach your fullest potential, it's really hard to push yourself and to work with the level of enthusiasm and excitement that makes the actions you do actually work happen every single day. So I think that comes first, passion.
Yeah, passion. Yeah, become the best version of yourself. I mean, think about all the skill sets that you have to develop to be a great entrepreneur. You have to be proficient at psychology, numbers, finances, taxes. Sometimes like it's crazy how much we need to know. You need to know communication, leadership, hard work, over just being able to look inside yourself and know what your shortcomings are. And then also the tenacity and the tenacity to overcome those things too. Like
Yeah.
there's so many things that you have to develop to be a great entrepreneur. And like, I just don't think there's anything out there that really tests you and develops you quite like it. And it's one of the best journeys that somebody can go on, in my opinion,
Right.
for personal
I'm,
development.
I almost think there's an inverse relationship between success and being realistic a little bit. Like I think when you perceive like what it is you're trying to create, most of what the most successful people are aiming for is pretty unrealistic when you look at like just like the metrics. Like the odds of building a 7-figure practice aren't huge, but the people who are the most successful truly believe like, oh no, I got this.
Mhm.
So I think you need to have a little bit of, I mean, you can be like realistic. Like you're an incredibly realistic guy, but you have to be almost a little naive, maybe. Would you agree with that?
A little bit, yeah, for sure. You have to be cautiously optimistic.
Nice.
Is how I look at it. One thing that really helps me is like, yes, I'm a realist, but what helps me with that is like what you said earlier, being able to plan. If I can see it, if I can see my plan happen through numbers, numbers aren't going to lie. Those don't have
Mhm.
emotion. If I can work out how I want to achieve something through numbers and reverse engineering it, now it makes it real for me. Now I'm like, great, that is actually a realistic goal because I just proved myself it's realistic through numbers. Now I just follow that plan, and then that gets me to the result. So yes, I'm a realist, but it can actually be beneficial too if you go about it the right way.
I love it. So let's recap the things. You need to be extremely passionate about who you want to become to get you through the trials that you need to get through. You need to work on and understand the mental barriers that have been placed in your mind that are limiting the actions you take. Because if you don't believe you can achieve something big, you're going to come up with smaller solutions to big problems. Okay. If you think big and believe you can achieve big things, the actions you take are going to be bigger. And then the last part is make sure that is you need to be able to reverse engineer the goal. Find out what it is you want, work the numbers, and then actually use the scientific method to systematically grow and improve your business. We can summarize this entire 27 minutes with business is really just math. It's really, really simple. And the only thing that's standing between you and the success you're looking for is your more than capable but overthinking brain. That's it. It's just math. Your brain's the thing that's getting in the way. Open your mind to help, read some books. And tune in to this podcast here. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure that you do for our weekly episodes on what's working to grow and scale cash physical therapy practices. If you have any questions or topics that you would like us to discuss, drop them in the comments. Or if you'd like to be a guest on our show where Ben and I actually work with you on your business to help you overcome the constraints that are holding you back, let us know in the comments. We'd be happy to follow up and get you scheduled. Thanks for listening, everybody.